Listen up, fellow nerds. If you love everything from comics, movies, gaming, wrestling, TV, collectibles, and more, you're in the right place. Welcome to ODR-talk. When you're ready to talk, 25 ODR.
What's going on, guys? We're back with ODR-talk again. With me again is Chambers and Will or Qualinar. You'll hear multiple names, but we're here. We're back. We're playing Stowe. We're just hitting up missions and just talking like we did last time, just shooting the shit. So, in this week, we're letting Will pick the topic. So, Will, what are we discussing today?
I choose Marvel, and not.
Well, that's a big brush.
But I know, but all right, X-Men.
X-Men?
X-Men.
Yes.
Everything X-Men, or we gonna try to just center point, or are we just going for the gold here?
Just go for the gold here and see what happens.
Alright, X-Men.
Alright.
So what would you like to bring up first?
Thoughts on movies, specifically the first couple.
Okay, I got you. The X-Men movies 1, 2, and 3. I like the first one. I like the first one.
I like the movies. I disagree with the Rogue.
Why?
Well, because, and you can back me up here. Going from like the comics and the animated stuff, Rogue was not this little innocent girl.
In my opinion, they played Rogue off in the movies like they played Jubilee off in the animated series.
Yes, I will agree with that. Now, I got a question for you, Chambers. Why was Rogue able to do everything that she could in the animated series and the comic books?
Because she absorbed the other person's power.
Who?
She was Rogue. She was able to take.
Now, who was the person that she absorbed their power?
But she can absorb anybody's power, but something happened to allow her to keep that power.
Yes.
No, I don't remember.
Okay, well, for y'all playing the home game, Rogue held on to Miss Marvel, which Miss Marvel, they will be making a movie for her in the MCU universe is coming up.
Yes.
Is alien based. She was able to fly, super strength, stuff like that. Now in the movie, she probably won't be that OEP, but anyway, Rogue held on to her so long that it put her into a coma and managed to give Rogue her powers indefinitely.
Yeah.
While still being able to absorb other people's powers and using them temporarily, as long as she doesn't hold too long.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that.
Making Rogue a kind of badass bitch. She was not.
Oh, there was no kind of to it.
Yeah, no.
Well,
she could definitely hold her own in a fight.
Yeah.
And if she started getting beat, she'd slip off the glove, touch him.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't even have to be without the glove. It can be any contact, which
I know.
Which brings, that's got to be a lonely life because she can't kiss somebody. She can't mate with them.
There's got to be somebody.
Hefty. Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
Oh my god.
Just for a trash bag.
Oh god. There is no. Well, never mind. There is one mutant that could leech, but that he. Listen, he
Is he too old?
No. Leech would be younger than Rogue, but that is not a good-looking man.
Well, she can get desperate enough.
You know what?
He has a point. He
This-
has a point.
This is true. This is true, and we're queued up, but apparently it's not going anywhere.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna requeue us in something here so we can get this going. Yeah, okay, Leech, that'll work. Okay, movies. I like the way
Oh,
that
still staying away from the Omega class because that's
yeah.
still within a whole nother series of its basically.
Yes. I did like the casting. I liked how everybody was portrayed. I liked Magneto and Professor X.
Yeah, I do too.
Sabretooth.
I wasn't too
Triple A.
thrilled with Sabretooth.
No.
Triple A.
Wasn't too thrilled on Sabretooth, but I did like that they showed the hatred between Cyclops and Wolverine,
Yes.
because that was always apparent in the comics.
Just a little bit.
Just like that.
But he did try to make friends with Cyclops. In the animated series, he made him a convertible.
That was not a friendly gesture, sir. That was not a friendly gesture.
But I do say I have
He
to
was
like.
he was a tad bit angry that Morph and Beast got left behind.
This is true, but
Just a tiny bit.
I will say I liked that version of Cyclops in the movie version.
Well,
'Cause
I
it's-
have to admit, on that subject though, Logan's. Yeah, I'm just gonna. I mean, kind of. When it comes to his friends, he's an asshole.
Not
Well,
necessarily.
see, and the thing though is with Wolverine, I think the reason I like, FYI, Wolverine's one of my favorite Marvel characters, one of them.
He's
The
my
reason I
top.
like him so much is because he's not the typical like do everything by the books, do everything as nice as humanly possible.
Yeah.
No,
Rough around the edges.
you're right. In certain aspects, he is a dick, but he does it in such a good way that
But he's a dick, but he is so good.
I mean, I know that sounds weird, but he's definitely not your typical like, hey, let's be a good superhero, let's try and take these people out with our. He was not afraid to just go around and destroy people.
Yeah.
Now, see, as you like Wolverine, that's the reason I like Deadpool.
Yeah, Deadpool
Yeah.
got
Well,
to be.
Deadpool's even on a whole nother level of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But Deadpool, I wouldn't necessarily classify as a superhero.
How dare you?
Just in the hero sense. Even he doesn't call himself a superhero.
This is true.
He's not necessarily a hero, but
That's what I'm saying.
He does
That's
good
all I'm talking
deeds.
about is the hero part. He
does good
doesn't.
deeds.
Oh, I mean, he easily could be. He's got the potential for it, but even he doesn't classify himself as that because he just does basically what he wants to do,
Fair
and
enough.
usually that involves killing.
I don't.
Mind you,
Wrong with it?
he might stop somebody bad from doing something worse to
But only
somebody
if
else.
it benefits him.
Yes. So he's not doing it out of the kindness of his heart.
Very well.
He does it for money.
Exactly. He's a mercenary. Mark with the mouth.
Potato, potato.
Hmm?
Potato, potato.
I did
No.
like how they portrayed Nightcrawler in the movies.
Yes.
That that wasn't bad. That was,
What's another one? Kitty Pryde was pretty much like the comic books.
Yeah, except for her weird little time travel thing towards the end.
Well, that too, and
by being able to send them back in time.
And also in the comics, she hooked up with Colossus, and she was about, I think she was 16 or 17 in the comics, so Colossus was kicked out for
being a pedophile, basically.
in a sense. In a sense.
How could you hook up? Never mind. I don't even want to go into it.
Also, I do like the way they portrayed the Colossus in Deadpool.
Yeah.
That to me was more Colossus than the X-Men movies were. Colossus.
Yeah.
The Colossus in the X-Men movie. Was he?
He was in the X-Men movies, but it really didn't show.
I'm just saying the one that was in the X-Men movies wasn't as Colossus to me as the one that's in Deadpool.
Yeah.
Because he could change.
We also didn't wear the standard red and yellow suit. Well, and but Colossus is taller than what that guy was. I mean, he grows to almost 8 feet tall when he's armored up.
Yeah. He was already, I'm assuming, kind of a normal size to over normal size person as far as height. And then whenever he metaled up, he got even bigger.
He was a pretty large kid.
In the comic, or in the X-Men movie that they were making and putting him in there, he never changed size. He just metaled up.
Yeah.
Like, it literally just wrapped around him the exact same size. But in the comic books, whenever you'd see him, well, mostly in the animated series, I don't know how well they did it actually depicting it in the comics, other than whenever they showed him next to somebody. But you actually saw him as he started metaling up, like, he got taller and broader as he metaled up.
He got bigger. That's why he
was able... Which they never did in the X-Men movies.
That's why he was able to go toe-to-toe with, like, Juggernaut and all them.
Yeah.
Because he would match their size. Now, if he got knocked out, his metal went away, and the way they... Now, check this out. The way that they got it where Magneto couldn't just throw him around like a rag doll is it was organic metal, and apparently Magneto can't move that.
Okay, and I have a question that may be stupid to some people. In Deadpool, the movie,
yes,
who was that bitch? Because she
that
did
was throw him around. That was, oh, you're talking about the...
Angel?
Angel.
I'm talking about the buff bitch that took Colossus to the fucking woodshed.
That's Angel.
That didn't look Angel-like to me.
Well, her name was Angel. She's mainly like Power Girl. I don't know if she was based off the comic person or not, but she's basically just an augmented human.
I mean,
she was a mutant.
She knocked the piss out of him.
This is true. But it also, I did like how they depicted his morality that Colossus has, because he's always very, very respectful, very morale-based more than the other X-Men.
Yeah.
Now, I would have liked to see him talk about his sister, because the way he first transformed and found out he was a mutant, his sister was almost ran over by a giant tractor, and he metaled up and ended up crushing it and stopping it from killing her, and come to find out later she even had mutant powers, but I don't remember what those were.
Oh, okay.
No, but yeah, Colossus in Deadpool was the best Colossus, close to form. I know, since we're talking about X-Men movies now, we've opened up Deadpool and all that. I was not happy how they did the Blob. Any rebuttal to that?
Yeah, no.
They could have. And Blob is actually a very powerful mutant. Oh,
he can control the gravity
around
the gravity forces around him, making him unmovable.
Do you have a conference table? Is that what you're looking for? We're going to sit down and have a chat at the conference table?
Oh, this is all I got. This is my little ship.
Oh, well, we can go to my ship. I should have a conference table. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, they could have done a lot better work on him. But now Mystique in the movies was fantastic.
Yes.
I liked Mystique. No mind, I don't have a bridge on this ship. I have a bridge. I don't have a spot for us to sit and debate the.
Just as an FYI and a little fun fact here, Magic, spelled Magik, is Colossus's sister.
Ah.
She has the ability to teleport through time and space by creating portals into the pocket dimension Other Place. And she also is a powerful sorceress whose powers are stronger when she's basically just in limbo, but while she's on Earth, she's basically limited to astral projections, sensing mystical presences, and summoning her soul sword.
Interesting.
So there you go. Fun fact.
Interesting. I knew she had mutant abilities, but I didn't know what. Okay.
Well, now you do.
I'm gonna leave ship. I'm gonna get my ship that's got a place that we can. Oh, you know where we could go? Perfect place for us to go. Go to the research lab. The fleet one.
Okay.
Anyway, because then we can have all of our ships there, and it doesn't matter. But and then I'll start the next thing. Okay, since we're going here, who do you think is better, Cable or Bishop?
Oh God.
You lost me on that.
Both time travelers.
No. Yeah.
Now, Cable is the son of Jean Grey and Scott Summers.
Yeah.
Which is Cyclops and Jean Grey, but wasn't she called Marvel Girl or something like that in the early comics?
I believe so.
And basically, he's got I forget what his mutant abilities are, because Bishop can redirect energy.
Cable. I know Cable has telepathic and telekinetic. I don't remember how powerful they are, but I do know that he has both.
Yeah, he's also got the he's got augmentations, of course.
Of course.
Yeah. They're both time travelers, and they come from the Age of Apocalypse, which we will take to another show later on, because that's an Omega class, and I want to try to keep those on their own subject. But Chamber, what do you want? I mean, what you got about X-Men? I feel it's just me and Will here going back and forth with each other here.
I enjoyed the X-Men movie. I mean, I really had no complaints about it.
I have a complaint about the X-Men movies.
Well, I mean, other than staying true to the comic and animated versions of the characters that were there first. I mean, I didn't like the way Beast looked. I thought he looked a little bit sissified.
Excuse me.
Compared to the animated version.
He looked like the animated version.
He didn't look as beastly, though.
Not the first time he appeared, he didn't.
This is true, and I see you walk around the research lab. Go to the back side and walk around till you see.
Where are we going?
The Fleet Research Lab. There's a conference room.
Oh, okay. I'm headed there now.
Anyway,
the biggest issue I had was with their explanation of the Phoenix in all of the X-Men movies. All of them.
He brought up the Phoenix.
I know. That was my biggest issue with any of the X-Men movies, was their explanation of it. Because in the original trilogy, they brought it up as in it was basically because of what Magneto did.
Well,
Is
it was
essentially
that.
what they made it sound like.
It was that, but also her mutagen enhanced.
No, I know, that's what I'm saying. Like, because he did that, it triggered a stronger mutation inside of her that was already there, which is
Yeah.
BS.
Which in the animated and the comic books, it was actually a separate entity that took over her body that gave her these powers.
A ridiculously powerful entity.
Yes.
Ridiculously
And
powerful.
it didn't
But
really
that gets into the Omega class.
Yeah, and do y'all remember what comic book that it made its appearance?
That I do not remember.
Well, the comic book and the animated series was when Jean and Scott got married. Is when they started the Phoenix arc.
I thought we weren't talking about Omegas.
I understand this. We're trying. He
started
brought it up.
My bad. I admit it. I brought it up. Mine was solely based off of movie disliking. I didn't plan on going
that far. Yeah. Well, my main gripe about it was the Rogue thing, because honestly, whenever I found out that Rogue was going to be in the movie, I know that shouldn't have been my sole hype about the movie, and it wasn't.
But it was pretty big.
But that's a pretty big little slouch there.
And then for her to come in there and basically being like Jubilee was.
Yes.
Was a big letdown.
That was a pretty big. I could excuse the saber tooth.
I don't know. I had a hard time with that one.
I had
a pretty hard time with that one.
If they hadn't have messed up the Rogue Army, I could have excused the saber tooth. I could not have excused the way Beast looked when he first appeared in the movies, because in the animated series, when I was a kid, Beast was always my favorite kid.
Yeah. Now, you do know that. Now, the gripe I had with X-Men 3 when Beast put his hand out and he was next to Leech and it made the fur come off of him and started. That wasn't really surprising, because Beast it's part of his mutagen, but Beast's mutagen, he wasn't covered in hair. In the original X-Men comics, he was a big guy, just very acrobatic and everything. He just looked like a human that looked kind of like had the shape of a gorilla.
Basically, yes.
And that's why when he saw Leech and Leech said, "Hey," or got near him and his fur went away, he's like, "Hey, it's been a long time." Yes, it has, but it shouldn't have shocked him that much, because you couldn't see that his mutagen was affected. Because he made himself turn into Beast trying to cure himself.
Yeah.
And later on in the comic books, to go off of Beast,
that's also why
he actually gained different abilities later on, because he actually because of his transformation he did, it ended up mutating, and he actually, for a little while in the comics, became kind of like a cat person, like a giant looked like a giant tiger in the build, and he became faster, stronger. He had claws, so even his mutagen continued to mutate in the later on comics.
Yeah, but the reason the not thing you're talking about with Beast, him being just a huge, gorilla-shaped guy.
Yeah. Well, also in that comic book, Iceman looked like a giant snowman, but I digress.
But that's why when I saw the first leak of somebody that had blue skin other than Mystique for an X-Men movie, I thought it was going to be Beast, and it turned out to be Nightcrawler. I wasn't complaining about it.
Yeah, Nightcrawler was kind of my favorite. My favorite, though, if we're not talking Deadpool, people like that, was Gambit.
That's a cop-out.
What?
That's a cop-out.
No, it's not. Gambit was my favorite.
That's too easy.
The ability to charge any item with kinetic energy and having it detonate when you throw it, or
No,
just
I
have a
agree
ton.
with I agree with you, and that would be. I'm just saying. I feel like Gambit would be most favorite.
Well, this is true. This is true. I mean, could have.
Now I will say that not everybody knows that he can charge up any item.
Well, almost any
I
item.
feel like
He
everybody.
can't charge organic matter.
Well, I think
Except
everybody
for whenever he was taken over by Apocalypse.
is that
Here we go
Omega.
again. God damn it.
God
Yes.
damn it.
Yes,
I was just bringing up a point.
He made Death, which Gambit became Death, which also Hulk has been Death. Wolverine has been Death, so we'll have to cover a full topic on the augmentations that Apocalypse did to these guys. But yes, as Gambit, he could charge, once he became Death, he could charge anything, and he could actually do it by sight. He didn't have to touch it.
Right. But I think most people just think that he can only use playing cards and stuff.
Also, part of his immune ability is he produces a pheromone for women. That's why he's actually able to seduct women a lot easier than anybody else. It is part of his mutagen.
I mean, you can't blame the. I guess.
I know. I'm not mad at him.
Yeah. Can't be mad at him.
So I didn't like how he was betrayed in the Wolverine movie, but it's kind of hard to do that, I guess.
Is it though?
Yeah.
You get somebody who can throw cards really well. I mean,
It wasn't just cards. He was an expert at throwing
anything.
I know. You get somebody that can. Okay, you get somebody that can throw shit accurately, including but definitely not limited to playing cards.
Yes.
And you put special effects on it and make. I mean, shit happens.
Yeah. And but also what I like about Gambit is he was kind of like Wolverine in the aspect that he didn't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was going to do what he was going to do, and he didn't need to listen to everybody. Another one is Morph. Morph able to turn into different people. I mean, they didn't really use him much, but I think he's a good X-Men. Then there's probably people when they watch this going to be screaming at us, telling us, what about this person, what about this person? So I'm going to leave it this saying, hey, if y'all got someone else y'all want to mention that we forget, because strong possibilities here.
First of all, again, we left it open, even narrowing it down to the X-Men part of the Marvel Universe. That's a big thing to leave it open to.
And that's true.
Which is again why I mostly brought up movies on top of that to help narrow it down a little bit more, and then we got.
Yeah.
That's true, and yeah, because I mean, you could go down the lineage of even the children of the X-Men, like we talked about Cable. You've got the child that Black Panther and Storm have. I mean,
we're not going down there.
No,
we're not
but it's open-ended, is what I'm saying.
Okay. Fair enough.
Now, something else I'd like to discuss with y'all later in another episode is I showed Will this. It was leaked in an upcoming comic book that it looks like they're going to be merging Hulk with Wolverine. And I think that is something for us to discuss. But beyond that, why'd you make that sound?
Because that discussion is, I don't know, it's gonna be weird.
But anyway, sticking with the X-Men, do you think we'll ever see a better adaptation of some of the X-Men villains like Juggernaut? Do you think they'll redo him at a later time?
God, I hope so.
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
Cause
I would love to see them redo Juggernaut.
Yes.
I did not like what he did in the movies.
Juggernaut block, but see, that's a good thing about them doing CGI with Colossus, that opens the door for the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
That now we can branch that and make them look.
And the best part is since they made that X-Men storyline, they basically reset all the old movies.
That is
Yeah.
true. So
And I
that
kind of love them for that, because that erased all of that.
Yeah.
Okay, so what did y'all think about young Professor X and how he was played?
I thought he did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one too. Because you got to see more of his mental powers in those movies than we have got to see before.
Yes, in the original trilogy, I mean, yeah, you saw him freeze an entire room, and that's neat, but it's just Professor, and that's the other thing too, is this one though, I mean, being able to show him being able to do what he can do inside of somebody's mind, that was
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, very, very
And
cool.
I feel like that was lacking in the first three movies tremendously.
Oh, it was tremendously.
Yes.
Yes.
Now I have
yes,
a
it
question.
was. You know, people would sit there and watch it, and that's people that don't really know about the comic book side of X-Men. Everybody thinks Professor Xavier.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody does, but
now
that's just because of how little people know about it,
since
if they're just going based off of the.
since
All right.
we-
Last question. Last question, because time's running out here.
Okay, you do yours, and then I'm gonna have to bring up one thing.
Oh, this is. I'm saying you're what you're bringing up's got to be the last thing.
Okay, this is my last thing. Do we think, and I know we're flirting with the line that we already said no Omegas here, do you think that we will see a Shadow King or an Onslaught?
Onslaught would be awesome. Not that Shadow King wouldn't, but
if we do, it's gonna be later, way later.
Yeah, because
it
and
would
for
definitely
y'all
need to.
who don't know, look up Shadow King. He basically stays within the astral plane, and he is almost, if not a little bit more powerful in the astral plane than Charles Xavier, and that's one of his biggest foes. And Onslaught is what happens when both Magneto and Charles Xavier's minds meet at one time. There's a chain reaction that happened, and
Bad things happen.
it created Onslaught, a Omega being, which we'll discuss later on, that has both the magnetism and the mental ability of both the hosts.
Doesn't need to happen.
But anyway, guys, this has been another great little talk. I hope this one was as entertaining as the last one. Stand by for next week. Where Chambers will come up with the topic, and we'll go off that. We're switching topics around between the three of us because that way somebody's got a little bit more that they know than the others, so it becomes more of a discussion. May piss one of us off. We don't know yet. So we're gonna let that happen. But thanks, guys. This has been ODR Talk with Chambers, Will, and me.